Okay, the next ones we're going to do are 122, and this one's going to take probably half this video. Based on the graph, write an equation for each parabola. Okay, you should be proficient enough now that you should have some sort of grasp of how to do these individually. So I'm going to go fast through these. So on the first one, A, you should notice right away that 11.25 is not your vertex. It's nowhere near your vertex. Actually, no, I lied. It is near your vertex. But if you tell me that it is your vertex, that is not an okay thing to do, because you should be able to tell me that it's going to be a little higher than 11.25. The question is, where is it going to be? So that's what we're going to work on right now. And your x-intercepts are -9 and 5. So if your x-intercepts are -9, so that means x is equal to -9 and x is equal to 5. We're going to work this the first way that you ever learned how to find the equation of a line. The equation of a parabola, just from knowing the x-intercepts. So we're going to add 9 to both sides. You get x plus 9 equals 0, and you get x minus 5 equals 0. All right, well, this came from x plus 9 times x minus 5 equals 0. So that gives you x squared plus 9x minus 5x minus 45 equals 0. So when you clean this up, you get x squared plus 4x minus 45 equals 0. Okay, well, obviously that's not the equation. I can't end here. You know, or you should be able to tell me by now, that the number on the end when it's in standard form, the c value, should be what the y-intercept is, but it's obviously not. It's -45, and you know it's 11.25. So the question is, -45 times what is going to give you a positive 11.25? So after doing some calculation, and I'm going to have to think about this for a second. So 11.25 divided by -45. Oopsie. Wow, I don't really want -45. Cannot divide by 0. Yeah, I know I can't. 11.25 divided by -45. No, I said divide. What? -45 times times 0.25. Okay, yeah, that works. So I know, or after doing a couple calculations, that -45 times -0.25 should give you 11.25 as an answer. Okay, well, this is what we're going to need, the -0.25. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the entire equation by -0.25. And that way, so times the entire equation, or actually on both sides if you really want to think about it, but -0.25 times 0 is still a 0, so that really won't do too much for you. Then you get -0.25x, negative 0.25 times 4 is 1, so that becomes -1x. You're just distributing everything in, and then you get positive 11.25. So now this is your equation, or with the y, I should say, not with the 0. Now you can definitely certify that this is going to give you -11.25, -11.25, so your final equation is the one that you get after you multiply by 0.25. -0.25. All right, part B. Oh, this one's easier, thank goodness. If you had a vertex for every single one of these, your life would be so much better. Part B is how I wanted you to do the group test, but unfortunately a lot of people, it just didn't work out. You have a vertex here, which you're going to use to your advantage. And since you have a vertex, you can plug it into the graphing form of the equation, which is going to give you x minus 5. Oh, we're going to the left. So that's plus 5.5 squared minus 4.5. Okay, so that's what you start with. Since you have two x-intercepts, you can use either one. It doesn't matter. You can use the -7 and 0. You can use the -4 and 0. They're not both 0, so it should work out. I'm going to use the -4 and the 0. So negative 4 for the x and 0 for the y. So that's going to be 0 equals a times x is negative 4 plus 5.5 squared minus 4.5. And then we have, let's see, 0 equals a times this plus this should give you 1.5 left over, right? 5.5 minus 4? Yeah, 1.5 left over. Squared minus 4.5. And we're going to add 4.5 to the other side. So we get a times 1.5 squared. So what in the world is 1.5 squared? 5. Wait. Okay, 2.25. So, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't have to do that in my head. Okay, and then you get 4.5 and 2.25. Then divide by 2.25, divide by 2.25, and then you get your value for a. So 4.5 divided by 2.25 is 2. So how in the world did Matt get 16? I have no clue. Alright, well the value is 2. And sorry if you can't see. So as a final answer, your final equation for this one should be y equals 2 times x plus 5.5 squared minus 4.5. Okay, there you go. That's your final answer. And this is what you were supposed to do on the group test for number 3. You're supposed to use the vertex. You have the value of a that you needed to find because it tells you if the graph's going to be skinnier or fatter or compressed or stretched, I guess, if you want to use academic words. And then part C is a little bit different, but I think we can work it out. It's pretty much the same process. So y equals a times x, what is it, negative 6? So plus 6 squared plus 0. And you have 0 and 12, so you need to plug those numbers in. So 12 is the y equals a times x is the 0 plus 6 squared plus, well, we don't need the plus 0, I suppose. So solve for a and then plug it back in. So you should get y equals whatever a is, x plus 6, right? Squared plus, I'm just going to leave the plus 0 there. All right, so that's 122. And then lastly, 123. Oh, and 124. Jeez, this long homework assignment. Jill's tires are spinning at a rate of 120 revolutions per minute. Okay, so if her car's tires radii, okay, so we do a circle and the radius is 14. Okay, 14 inches, how far does she travel in 5 minutes? Okay, well, 1 revolution should be the entire circumference of the circle. So 1 revolution, because if you take the tire and you spin it once, you basically go from one point to the next point over. That's your circumference of the circle. So circumference is 2 pi r. So the circumference is going to be 2 pi times 14. So 28 pi. Okay, so in 1 spin, you've just gone around once on the circumference. So 28 pi is 1 revolution. Okay. So if you do 28 pi is 1 revolution. She can go 120 revolutions per minute. So how much is 120 revolutions? That's the question. So, oh, you're just cross multiplying. Okay, so 28 pi times 120. And then times solve for x, basically. So that's like 28 pi over 1 is equal to x over 120. So x is going to equal 120 times 28. What in the world is that? 28 times 120. 3,360 pi. Okay, that's 120 revolutions. So she can go 3,360 pi in 1 minute. Okay, so how many in 5 minutes? Well, just multiply by 5. So times 5 is 16800 pi. Yay! It was part D. Woohoo! Okay, hopefully you got all that. Okay, 124. Oh, this is easy. Okay. BE is the mid-segment of ACD, shown at the right. Okay, so the mid-segment basically means we're going to be in the middle. Okay, so if it's in the middle of CA and DA, that means these parts are the same. These parts are the same. Okay. So that means that's 5. This is going to be 3. So the entire thing is 6. And the entire thing is 10. So we basically just doubled. So if that's 7, then that's going to be 14. Okay, that's easy to do. So determine the perimeter of ACD. Okay, well then 6 plus 10 plus 14. That gives you 16 plus 14. So you get 30. Okay, so the perimeter of ACD is 30. Okay, so the perimeter of the large is 30. The perimeter of the small is ABC. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. Okay, well that should make sense because you're technically doubling everything. So your linear scale factor, or your ratio, is going to be 2 from the small one to the big one. So 6, 10, and 14. So if the area of the small one, so the area of the small is equal to 6.5, what's the area of the large? Okay, well, you're not multiplying by 2. Please remember, the area is two-dimensional. So you take whatever linear square factor you have and you square it. So 2 squared is going to give you a 4. So you're multiplying the small area by 4 to get the area of the large. And then you're done, basically. So linear square factor squared, because area is two-dimensional, that should give you the area of the large. And don't forget units squared, because there's a unit squared in there.